Morning everybody, welcome to Wednesday. And I do it all the time. I can hear myself, there we go. Welcome to Wednesday. Wednesday means marathon day, where we look at them big catalogues. And today's a viewer's request, and this is one that I had great delight doing because it's one of my favourite bands ever. We're talking about Queen. Big firm favourite in our house. Even my younger brother, who hopefully is going to watch this because he's a big Queen fan. So, before we start doing Queen, I've been a Queen fan since 1974. The first thing I ever heard by Queen was Killer Queen. So I was, 7, 8. So I've been a fan a very long time. And I know over the years they've picked up fans, which is brilliant. So if your favourite album is down at the bottom, it doesn't mean I don't like it. You've got to respect that the Queen fans' ages go from 60 something down to 30 something, or even less. You've got to remember we all hear these albums differently, and if you're of a certain age you prefer a certain sort of sound to some of the other ones. It doesn't mean I don't dislike these albums. I don't think there's one album here, apart from one, that I don't dislike. I like all the songs on, most of the songs on them. There's one or two that I'm not too keen on, but generally I love everything that Queen have put out. So I don't, if you find that you don't like it, don't put, oh, I switched off because you put so and so at the bottom. Frankly, that's how you like it, and I love that. You're a Queen fan, but I've got older ears more, and I've been listening to this band growing up listening to them. So I thought I'd get off my chest because it does annoy me sometimes when you get people going, "Oh, I switched off because you put a great album at the bottom." No, it's not because it's not a bad album. I prefer others, like we all do. So there's not much I don't have to tell you about Queen, is there really? Apart from it's Freddie Mercury, Brian May, Roger Taylor and John Deacon. Great band. I've seen them. Saw them at their very, very last concert with Freddie at Nebworth. Fantastic. 15 studio albums. Endless singles and compilation albums. But they are one of my favourite bands ever. And they always will, and their music's still being played today. I know people don't like this Adam Lambert thing, but it's bringing the music of Freddie to people that weren't even born when Freddie passed. That's all that matters, the legacy of the music of Freddie Mercury. So 15 albums, so we'll get a cracking. So coming in at number 15, and I don't think this will be a surprise to anybody, it's the 10th album released in 1982, Hot Space. A notable shift in direction. Disco, funk and dance and pop on this. Freddie really got into this sort of thing, and yes. So let's have a look at these tracks briefly because there's not much to say about these. The first track is Staying Power. Now there's nothing I can say good about that except I don't like it. Dancer. Now, I've got one good thing to say about this song. Brian May's guitar solo. The rest of it is dire. I think he just goes into the studio, have a bit of that, gives it some, and clears off. But the guitar solo in Dancer is just brilliant. Back Chat. Oh, gold. Another awful song. What were they thinking? I really don't know. They really went off kilter. I remember this coming out and it just shocked me. Yes, I've got it because it's part of the collection, but do I play it much? Not a lot. Then we get the worst song I think Queen ever put out in their entire life. The awful Body Language. That's simple, it's just dire. Then we get Action This Day. This is not too bad, but then we get some horrible synthesizer and it ruins it. Put Out the Fire. I like this track. This is proper Queen. Great Brian riffs. I like that track, without a doubt. Then we get Life Is Real, a song for Lennon. I don't mind this. I like the lyrics. It's alright. Calling All Girls. Yeah. Some of the guitars okay, and that's all I can say. Las Palabras de l'Amor, the Words of Love. I don't mind this one. I do like the harmonies in it. That's all I can say. Cool Cat, second worst song by Queen. Absolute trash. It's just not for me. But to save this album, at the end we have the brilliant Under Pressure, that wonderful boom 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 that someone tried to copy and got told off. It's simply great. Love Under Pressure. Highlight of the album. This is the worst Queen album ever. You ask any fan of Queen and go, no, it's rubbish. It is rubbish. I play a couple of the songs on it, but that's it. It's simple as that. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 4 out of 10, and mostly that's for the brilliant Under Pressure. Okay, coming in at number 14, we have the 9th album, released in December 1980. It's the soundtrack to the film Flash Gordon, which is a great film. Got a copy of that. It's great. Opens up with the Flash theme, and this is the studio album, so you haven't got all the bits from the film. It's the boom 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 boom. And it opens up with a thing about on board Clytus. Have you got a plaything for me? It's quite catchy. It's a bit of a hero sort of track. Well, I've got no problem with that one. The second track on this is In the Space Capsule, which is the love theme. I actually love this. It's a lovely piece of music, but what I do like about it is them thundering kettle drums from Roger Taylor. Ming's theme, In the Court of the Merciless. Unless you've seen the film, you don't really know what's going on there. But when you've watched the film as many times as I have, you get an idea of what's going on. It's sort of moving into that. The Ring, unless, again, if you haven't seen the film, this doesn't mean nothing to it. It's just like this noise to think about the seduction of this ring. Football Fight, which was on the B-side of the single Flash Gordon. It's quite catchy. In the Death Cell is like the reprise of that love theme. The Execution of Flash. It's got some nice guitar bits from Brian. The Kiss, if you know what's going on, it's quite moving and it really fits into the scene. Then we got the Arborea, the Planet of the Tree Man. Eerie Keyboard. Escape from the Swamp, you've got the percussion and the kettle drums of Roger again. Flash to the Rescue, the main theme with lots going on and all sorts. Then we get Vulcan's theme, Attack of the Hawkmen. Little bit of pleasant music. The battle theme, hard, heavy. But what makes this is Brian Blessed with his bellowing speeches. Pretty good. Then we get the Wedding March by Brian May. Now, the time I did get married, back in whenever it was, I said I wanted this played in the church, but it was flatly refused, which is not good, because it is a great version. Male of Dale and King. It's just the wedding vows. It's just quite funny, you know, when you love her and leave her, and basically don't put her into space unless you get bored with her. Crash Dive on Mingo, just about the film. Flash's theme, the victory celebrations, more of the Flash theme. And then we get the best track on the album, The Hero. They've played this live, it's great. This album, it helps to be if you're a fan of the film. I love the film. I remember watching Flash Gordon on telly when I was a kid, the black and white with the very suspect state spaceships that looked like something else. I love this soundtrack, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.5. Okay, then coming at number 13, we have the 13th album, released in 1989, The Miracle. This was recorded after Brian's marriage went down and Freddie was diagnosed with HIV, but no one else knew about it, so it took over a year for them to record it. First track on here is called Party. I like this. I love the harmonies in it, and I do like Roger Taylor's drumming. Kashuga's shit, rocky, great guitars, even from a 1980s sounding thing, really good. The Miracle. I don't like this. I never have liked it. It's a horrible song, but I do love the video with the kids mimicking the band, especially the guy that does Freddie. He's pretty cool. I mean, I love the video, but I don't like the song. Then we get I Want It All, my favourite track on this album. I love them strong riffs. Freddie's vocals are superb on this, of course. He was poorly and he still was putting out some great material. The solo in this just is mind-boggling. Brilliant track. Oh dear. Then we get The Invisible Man. What a pile of dung that is. Thank you. If you like it, fair enough, but I just don't like it. Breakthrough. Love that galloping drum in this. It's a really good track. It's got some lovely harmonies in it. The video to it is great. Really, really good track. Frame for a Small, another one for the garbage bin, I'm afraid. I don't want to talk about that because it is just awful. Scandal. It's got that lovely guitar work from Brian. It's one of the better tracks on the album. My Baby Does Me, third worst song done by Queen, except the guitar solos are pretty good. Was It Well Worth It? The Little Brother of Another track, very personal to Freddie. It's not too bad. This album is full of a mixed bag of songs here. There's some really oh dear songs and some really good rockers. I do respect Freddie for wanting to work while he could, and I do put this album on a bit, but there are some weak tracks on it for my personal reasons, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.5. Okay, coming in at number 12, then we go to the 12th album, released in 1986, A Kind of Magic. People go, why does he put it down so low? Well, it's because I prefer the other albums. I don't dislike this album because it's got some great tracks on it, as we will find out. Opens up with the brilliant One Vision. Love this song. Love the drumming from Roger on this. It's a brilliant, brilliant song. Kind of Magic. Love the bass line on this. It's one of their more commercial songs, but it's a decent enough track. 1 Year of Love. I love Freddie's vocal on this. It's a little bit different, but it's still a good track. Then we get one track that's not good for me. Pain Is So Close to Pleasure. Not get it all. Then we get the cheesy Friends Will Be Friends. Oh, and they were trying to do We Are the Champions again, and they failed miserably. It's cheesy. It's just rubbish. Then we get a beautiful song from the Highlander, Who Wants to Live Forever. I love this. great vocals from both Brian and Freddie on that. It's one of the highlights of the movie as well. Terrific song. Then we get Gimme the Prize, Kurgan's theme, also from Highlander. Love Brian's guitar on this, it's brilliant, and I love it when Kurgan says, I've got something to say, it's better to burn out than fade away. There can only be one. Great stuff. Don't lose your head. Nah, I don't like that track. The last track is brilliant though, my favourite song on here, Princes of the Universe. I love the riffs in this, I love the Freddie on it, and I love the video because Christopher Lambert, that played Connor MacLeod, comes out on the thing with his sword and gives it all large. Great way to end the album. Mixed bag again. There's some songs on there that are absolute brilliant, and there's some that are not, but it's still a good listen. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 11, we have the 11th album, released in 1984, The Works. Opens up with Radio Gaga. I don't mind this one, it's a classic song. I don't mind it at all. Everyone knows the hand claps and that, which is amazing when you go when you're in the crowd doing it, because everyone's in time. It's just brilliant. Tear It Up, one of the great Queen rockers here. I love this. Brian's guitar work's brilliant. My favourite track off this album, It's a Hard Life. Love Freddie's vocal on this. A great guitar solo in it as well. Pretty decent. Man on the Prowl. It's a nice little rock and roll number. Nothing wrong with that one. I can go with that one. Machines, Back to the Humans. Oh dear. No. Put that in the trash can, boys. Then we get I Want to Break Free, which is nothing like the single version because there's no other keyboards, and this is just a stripped back version of it, and I don't think it'd have been a big hit without the keyboards added, and it did add to this track, and it's a great little track. Keep Passing the Open Windows, one of the weaker tracks for me, doesn't do nothing for me. Then we get Hammer to Fall. Now when this come out, I loved it. I love this track, but as time has now gone on, I'm fed up of hearing this song. It's been mullered to death, and if I'd never hear it again, I won't get upset now, which is a shame, but that's how some songs do for you. You just oh, not this again. It's got a great riff in it though. That opening riff from Brian's great. Then we get the lovely Is This World Created, still as prominent the words today as it meant in 1984. Okay, I know I've probably upset a lot of Queen fans putting this album so low, but it's not one of the best albums I made. It's got some great tracks on it, don't get me wrong, it has, but they did make better albums. But I'm going to still give it an RTO ranking of 7.5 for the really good tracks on it. Okay, then coming in at number 10, we go to the 15th and final album, released in 1995. The first band's release after the death of Freddie in 1991. This is where Freddie just wanted to work and work, and he laid down so many tracks, and then the rest of the band came in when they felt it was right to finish the album. Opens up with It's a Beautiful Day. Love this. It's so great to hear. It was so nice to hear Freddie's voice after an absence, and new material. Love it. Wonderful piece. Made in Heaven. This is certainly better than off Freddie's Mr. Bad Guy album. I think that Brian's guitar work on this adds to this track. It's still not the best track, but it's a lot better now that Brian's put some guitar overdubs on it. Let Me Live. I love this. I think it's because it's got everybody. It's got Freddie singing it on Roger and Brian. It's nice, very nice song. Mother Love, love the words in this from Freddie. It's a beautiful song. It was written by John, written by Freddie and Brian. It's just very, very good. I love the bit where the crowd comes in from probably the Magic Tour, all the Deos and all that sort of business. Lovely. My Life Has Been Saved, a song by John Deacon. Very good. I Was Born to Love You. This is a lot better than Mr. Bad Guy version. It's a bit more rocker. The guitar solo is absolutely mental on that. Heaven for Everyone, the first song we'd heard for a long time. It's quite good. I like that. Too Much Love Will Kill You. This is on, of course, Brian May's first solo album. I don't care who sings it, Freddie or Brian. It's a great song. You Don't Fool Me, one of them great little John Deacon bass lines. It's quite a nice track. Winter's Tale, just very pleasant. Then you get It's a Beautiful Day reprise, and you get the end of the 7-seater Rye in it. And then it goes off kilter, and then we get this hidden track, 23 minutes worth of rubbish, of noises and effects. Why, I don't know. It really, I've listened to it once, and I just don't bother with it. This is a lovely album. I don't dislike this, I can't. It's not a classic Queen album, but it's the last material we got from Freddie, and it's strong, and that's makes it a very special album to me. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 9, we go to the 8th album, released in June 1980, The Game. First Queen's album to feature synthesizers. Opens up with Play the Game, great track. Love the piano in this, and I love that bit in the middle where it goes dun, 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 dun. Great, love that. Then we get my favourite track on this album, Dragon Attack. That thumping bass line from John Deacon, that dun, 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 dun. Great track, love it. Next is Another One Bites the Dust. It's one I do like. Again, John Deacon's bass line. Okay, it's played a lot, but it's one that I actually still do like. Then we get Need Your Loving Tonight. This is one of them deep cut tracks from Queen. Unless you've got this album, you would have never heard it. It's got some nice riffs, nice harmonies like this. Crazy Little Thing Called Love. Again, when this come out, I thought, oh, this is a great little rock and roll track. But now, if I never hear it again, I won't get upset about it. Okay, then we go to Rocket, Prime Jive, song by Roger. Great little Roger song that he sings. Love it. Don't Try Suicide. This is one of them little quirky songs that Queen do, like that. Sail Away Sweet Sister, a Brian May tune. I do like Brian's songs. Sings lovely in it. The guitar riff is pretty good. Coming Soon. Love Roger's drumming on this. This is a little bit different, but it's a solid track. And then the album closes up with Save Me. I love this. I prefer this to Play the Game. I think it's just a great, great song. First album of the new decade for Queen. Still got some great tracks on it. Starting to move away from their old 70s sound, but there's nothing wrong with this album. It's a very good album, and I enjoy listening to this one. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.4. Okay, coming in number 8, we go to the 7th album. Released in 1978, Jazz. Opens up with Mustafa. I love this. I love the vocal from Freddie, but what really makes this is when the band comes in. It's heavy, thumping stuff. Great bass line from John on that. Terrific track. Then we get Fat Bottom Girls, classic song, a song that I really love. Okay, it does get played a lot, but it is a classic. And I preferred this version to the single version because you get the full guitar on it. It's really, really good. Then we get a little track called Jealousy. Brilliant song. Great bass line from John. Freddie's piano's good on it. Great stuff. Then we get the quirky little I want to ride my bicycle. Love this. Video's interesting, of course. Very good. Then we get a nice little rocker called If You Can't Beat Them. Great track. Then we get Let Me Entertain You. Sterling stuff. Love this song. Love the riffs in it. Great track. Then we get my favourite track on this album, Dead on Time. This is one of the heaviest tracks you'll ever hear from Queen. Brilliant guitar solo, just a brilliant track. In Only 7 Days, this is a little bit more jazzy and a soulful song. Good track. Nice guitar overdubs from Brian. I love this. Dreamer's Ball, as described on the Life Killers album, a little bit of nonsense, but it's great. I love these little, what they call their little bit of nonsense tracks. It's jazzy, it's blues, it's really good. Then we get Funny. It's okay, it's probably the weakest track on the album. Leaving Home Ain't Easy reminds me of some of the stuff they did off the Day of the Races album. It's a really good track. Then we get Don't Stop Me Now. Again, one of them tracks that was great in the day, but now I don't want to hear it. It's overplayed. Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm upsetting a lot of Queen fans, but I love Queen, but that track, it's just one of the singles that gets played and played, and it just kills it for me, which it upsets me in some respects. Because when I first heard this, I thought it was really, really good. Then we get more of that jazz. One of the cleverest songs that Queen ever did. Starts off all gentle, and then you get the whole album in about 30 seconds. Brilliant. Nice album to end the decade of the 70s. It's got some really belting tracks off here. More of the deep cut tracks from the album. They're the best tracks. Love this album. And I'll give this an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay, coming in at number 7, we have the 14th album, released in 1991. This was the last album the band released in Freddies' lifetime. And it's an album that I had with new material on that I'd released in a long time. Opens up with the fantastic Innuendo. This is certainly the best song on the album. I love that Spanish guitar. I love the video to it. I love everything about this. It is one of the greatest songs. Then we get them quirky, I'm Going Slightly Mad. All these songs written by Mercury. Wonderful video to this. Wonderful stuff. Headlong, classic. You know, when you got to remember when these were being recorded, Freddie was probably not feeling his best, but he still put a sterling performance in on that track. Brilliant track. I Can't Live With You. Freddie just sings his socks off on this. Absolutely brilliant. Don't Try So Hard. Again, you can't dislike anything on this album. It's just the words. Some of the great lyrics that Freddie wrote. You just listen to them and it stuns your hairs up and makes you feel sad. Ride the Wild Wind. Love the drumming on this from Roger. There's something about that track. All God's People, one of them tremendous harmony tracks with a great guitar solo from Mr. May. These Days of Our Lives. Well, what can you say about this song? It is wonderful. It was written by Roger Taylor, and I think a lot of emotion is pouring out of Roger. Perfect song for Freddie to say goodbye to his fans on that video. Still gives a lump in my throat when I see that video. Then we get Delilah. Freddie loved his cats, and this is dedicated to one of his cats, Delilah. The Hitman. This is heavy, hard. Great vocal from Freddie there. Bijou. Lots of little ambient guitar from Brian. The Show Must Go On. Iconic moving words, isn't it? Very poignant. Just listen to them words. Basically, the show must go on, and it has. This was a final fitting album for Queen and Freddie. Last album before he died. It's got some great songs on it. It's a very special album. I think it's a very special album to every Queen fan. One of the best. And I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.7. Okay then, coming in at number 6, we go to the 6th album, released in 1977, News of the World. It opens up with the iconic We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions. We Will Rock You, another track that if I never hear it again, I will never get upset, because I'm fed up of hearing it. Although it was good at the time, and I like that fast version of this. Actually, I'll be further. You get on the live album. I love the real heavy version of this, and I still do like that. But this version, I don't want to hear it because every man and his dog does that one. We Are the Champions. Every sports team in the world jumped on this one, and I did love it when it came out. Again, I don't want to hear it again. Then we get the brilliant Sheer Heart Attack. Again, one of the heavy tracks by Queen. Love the guitar work from Brian on this. All Dead, All Dead. What I like about Queen, listening to this track, you get a great rocker, and then you get this gentle track straight after it, and this is one of them. It's piano and Brian May singing. It's lovely. Spread Your Wings, not a particular favourite of mine, bit cheesy for me. Fight from the Inside, super bass line from John Deacon. He came up with some great bass riffs. Great riffs from Brian, really strong track. Then we get another favourite track of mine, Get Down Mate Love. Stonking bass line. Great key work from Brian on this. Then we get Sleeping on the Sidewalk, one of the jazzy sort of tracks they've done in their catalogue from Brian. Some nice vocal from Brian, nice guitar work, really works. Who Needs You? This has got an acoustic guitar solo from Brian, which I like. It's Late, one of them slow tempo tracks. Heavy as well, although it's slow tempo, really strong track. Then we get my favourite track on the album, My Melancholy Blues. Wonderful track. Just love that jazzy, bluesy sounding, and I love Freddie's vocal on this. Brilliant stuff. Definitely one of the classic albums by Queen. It's got excellent tracks, bar one. Got rock, jazz, blues, you've got the lot. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.8. Okay then, coming in at number 5, and I do need a sip of coffee. Right. So number 5 is the second album, released on the 8th of March 1974, Queen 2. Opens up with that short instrumental, Procession. One of the best short instrumentals Queen ever did. Amazing guitar work from Brian on this. Father to Son, nice little track. It's a bit proggy in places, and it's got this real heavy guitar riff from Brian. Great track. White Queen, As It Began. Again, very prog. Good track. Someday, One Day. One of them little quiet songs that Brian used to write with some nice guitar work. The Loser in the End, and Roger's song. Always loved Roger's rock songs. Excellent track. Then we get Org Battle. Oh, I love this. Great track. One of the classics. Great harmonies. Then we have probably one of my favourite tracks on the album, the Fairy Fellas Masterstroke. The keyboard at the beginning on the piano is great, and then you get the guitar coming in. It's brilliant. Brilliant track. Then we get a very short piece on the piano from Freddie, Nevermore. Then we get the March of the Black Queen, my favourite track on this album. The guitar work is just earth blowing, shattering on you. Knockout drum. Brilliant track. Great little rocker. Funny How Love Is. One of these tracks that sounds like it's from the 60s. It's really good. Then the album ends out with a classic single, Seven Seas a Ride. I like this. I like the bit at the end when he goes, oh, I do like to be beside the seaside. Second album, strong album. Got some absolute belters on this. Very progressive. Some great work from Brian on this. It's a brilliant album. I play this one a lot. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.9. Okay, then coming in at number 4. We go to The Day of the Races, the 5th album released 10th of December 1976. Opens up with probably the greatest start to a Queen album. You got that doon 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 dilly dilly bum ba dum ba dum, tie your mother down. Rocks. Absolutely rocks. Love this track. Then we get the lovely You Take My Breath Away. Some lovely vocals and overdubbed vocals and harmonies. Love it. Long Away, one of Brian's tracks. Some nice vocal from Brian. Nice guitar work. Very, very good. Then we get my favourite track on this album, The Millionaire Waltz. Love the bass. But what I love about this, it's got one of my favourite guitar solos by Brian May. It's got everything in this, rock, jazz. It's just brilliant. The way that guitar solo starts, it goes all heavy, and then you get the little bit of the piano, and then you get this lovely classical sounding guitar solo. Great. You and I, solid track. It's not one of my favourites, but it's still not a bad track. Then we get Somebody to Love. This is my favourite Queen single that they released. I love Somebody to Love. It's a great track. White Man. Great rock guitar here, heavy, great drumming. Then we get Good Old Fashioned Lover Boy, which is one of the forgotten singles off this album. It's very quirky. It's got some nice delicate touches, some nice piano work from Freddie, and singing. Drowse. This is one of the best little songs that Roger did. I love his vocal on this and the arrangement. It's such a drowsy song as it is. Then we get Tio Torre, Let Us Cling Together. This is stunning. They only seem to play this live in Japan, and I've heard Adam Lambert sing this. He does a good good job. Great little song. Good way to end the album. These albums at the top of this are so hard to do. These swap around. That from 5 to 2 always swap around. But I love this album. Play it a lot. so I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 3, this will probably shock a lot of people, and I'll probably get a few comments about this. Go to the 4th album, released in 1975, A Night at the Opera. Opens up with Death on Two Legs, that daunting piano at the start, then some really heavy guitar work from Brian, great stuff. Then we get the amazing Lazing on a Sunday Afternoon. I think this is one of Brian's best guitar solos. Okay, it's a very overdubbed, but it's tremendous. And then we got the song that Roger got a lot of stick for when he wanted to put this on the album. I'm in Love with My Car. I think it's the best song he wrote and performed with Queen. I love it. It's a great rocker. Then we get one of John Deacon's finest, You're My Best Friend, one of the classics. I love this. I still love listening to it today, without a doubt. Then we get 39. I love this as well. One of Brian's finest songs about space. But I always say this, and I think it was my dad said it first when it came out. He said this song reminds him of the Seekers. The way it's presented, the sound, how they're singing, it does sound like the Seekers. And if you listen to the Seekers and then this, it does. My dad was right. And it's a lovely little track and I love it. Then we get Sweet Lady. I love the opening riffs of this. That dun 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 dun. And then it just goes off into some stupidness, and it really doesn't do anything for me except that opening riff. Seaside Rendezvous, one of the quirkier ones. This is in the days where Queen were poor. They couldn't afford trumpets, so what did they do? Well, Roger did, and it's effective and it does the job. Okay, the next 2 tracks, I sort of put them together because one can't exist without the other. This is, of course, the Prophet song and Love of My Life. The Prophet song is just sublime. Love the vocals and the harmonies, the heavy riffs, and then that just eases into the beautiful Love of My Life, the best song Freddie ever wrote. Of course, it's about his beloved Mary, and I love it. And if you've one of these people that have actually been to a Queen concert, it doesn't matter if you've been to see Queen sing it with Freddie, or Brian doing it when he did his solo stuff, or Adam Lambert. Everyone loves singing this, and it stands all the hairs on the back of your neck up. It's a wonderful piece of music. So, some of my favourite pieces of Queen's catalogue this is. Then we get Good Company, more of that Queen nonsense. And this is the bit that fools everyone about this girl, and you expect her to say the girl from number 3, but it's the girl from number 4. It's just a bit of nonsense. Then the album, it doesn't. The last but one track, of course, is Bohemian Rhapsody. Okay, let's look at the facts. Yes, it is probably the greatest song I ever wrote. One of the greatest pop videos, the greatest pop song, the longest one. But I loved it when it first came out. I remember this coming out, and it blew my brains away, especially the operatic bit. That's just amazing. But that was in 1975. It is now 2022, and it's just been overkilled. And if I never hear this song again, will I get upset? No. Okay, am I upset? A lot of Queen fans, oh, why are you saying that? It's the best song. Probably is, but it's not my favourite. Then the albums with the national anthem, done by Brian. Now this is a story that a friend that's no longer with us, he was affectionately known as PK. He was in the forces and he used to work on the forces radio when he was in Belize. I'm sure Dave will tell the story on the live stream as well on tomorrow. Instead of playing, he had to play the national anthem at the end of the night, and instead of playing the proper version, he played this. He said he got himself into trouble, but he said it was well worth it. This album, this could again swap places. It's got some great tracks on it. Even Bohemian Rhapsody. When you look at it as an album, you cannot deny that was a great track. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.1. Okay, coming in at number 2. It's an album we actually did a classic album review on it way back. It's the self-titled album from 1973, Queen. Opens up, of course, with Keep Yourself Alive. Great magical track. Them opening riffs, brilliant, blows you away. Then with my favourite track. Now this is a song that goes back to the Smile days, and they carried it over, Doing All Right. But Freddie's vocal is brilliant on this. I've actually heard it in the Smile version. It's okay, but this, when Freddie did it, brilliant. Then you get the vocals of Roger, and then you get that up-tempo rockness, brilliant. I love this track, one of my favourite Queen tracks ever. Then the great King Rat. There's a dirty old rat, and a dirty rat was he. Strong track, lovely harmonies, great guitar work. My Fairy Queen, King, My Fairy Queen, My Fairy King. My favourite starts to any Queen track, distinctive sound of that warm, warm, warm from Brian, and then you get the dumba 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 dumba, and then that shrieking of Roger, brilliant track. Then we get Liar. Highlight for me is that cowbell at the beginning, brilliant, love that. The Night Comes Down, one of the most progressive and atmospheric tracks, great bass playing from John, and a great solo for Mr. May. Then we get Modern Times Rock and Roll, a Roger Taylor up-tempo rocker, great vocal from Rog, absolutely belting. Son and Daughter, more great riffs, great harmonies, dirty riffs on that, brilliant track. Then we go All Religious, we have Jesus, one of my favourite tracks, great tempo, great arrangement. And then of course you get the instrumental bit at the beginning of Seven Seas of Wild Rye, and obviously they went off and eventually put some words to it. I would say this is probably one of the greatest debut albums of any time by any band. It is, in my opinion. It's powerful, it's punchy, and it's got delicacy on it as well. It's an amazing album. I play it to death. And I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.9. So we've finally reached number 1. And my favourite album. It's my number 1 album for many reasons. A, it contains the first track I ever heard by Queen, and it is actually the first album that when I could afford it, I brought. You know, I was a young boy, and it's still my favourite album from that. We're talking about, of course, the third album released on 8th of November 1974, and it is the brilliant Sheer Heart Attack. Opens up with Brighton Rock, of course. Brilliant. It's got some of the best guitar work Brian ever did, and he still plays that solo bit today. I mean, the best version of this is actually off of the Live Killers album, but this is a sterling track. Blew me away when I heard this. I remember listening to that solo bit at Nebworth when I saw Queen. Going from the speakers, that dum 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 dum, absolutely brilliant, blew me away. Then we get Killer Queen, one of my favourite singles, the first thing I ever heard. Top of the Pops, Freddie and his furry thing and black nail varnish. And I do prefer this song to Bohemian Rhapsody, and always will. Some great guitar in this. I like that little sharp bit. I can't remember the lyric now, but it's that little on the guitar, brilliant. Tenement Funster, a Roger Taylor, one of his great performances. I love the guitar work, it's just so good. Flick of the Wrist, the piano work from Freddie on this is just really good. I love the driving dirty riffs from Brian on that. Fantastic. Which goes straight into the Lily of the Valley. The piano and the harmonies and Freddie's vocals all combined to make a great little short track. Then we've got that classic Now I'm Here. Now, dun 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 dun. And this live, of course, is brilliant because he goes, now I'm here, now I'm here. It's just a brilliant track. Love that track even today. Okay, it's one that is played a lot, but I do love it. Then we get a side 2, opens up with In the Lap of the Gods, operatic, all this wonderful stuff from Freddie, nice guitar work, the harmonies are weird, just brilliant. Then we got probably, I think, the heaviest song ever put out by Queen, Stone Cold Crazy. This is the first real heavy metal song, I think. One of the great songs, great guitar solo, great vocals from Freddie, and I love that tapping of the drums sides from Roger. Brilliant. Dear friends, after the energy of Stone Cold Crazy, we have this wonderful little piano track. Then we get Misfire, lovely acoustic guitar work from Brian. I love that little track. Again, it's only a short track, but I really love it. Then we have one of them nonsense tracks. Bring back that Leroy Brown. I love that. What gives it that little extra is that little bit of ukulele from Brian. Extra texture with this 1930s swing style track. Then we got She Makes Me, Stormtrooper in stilettos. Great atmospheric track. The riff's got that dun 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 dum, and it all rings through your ears, and it's a great track. And then we get the In the Lap of the Gods revisited, that gentle start, the bass line from John, and then it just builds up into this crescendo of heaviness. If you've sang this in the crowd like I have, it's a big buzz. It's a great way to end this album. This will always be my #1 Queen album, and when I started it, it went straight to the top. I didn't have to think about it. I think this is a far better album than Phantom the Opera, Night of the Opera. Okay, that was the big breakthrough for them, Night of the Opera, but this was an album that has got the consistency of the songs on this are just fantastic. Again, it's got swing, it's got jazz, it's got rock. It is the perfect album by Queen. So it gets the perfect score of 10 out of 10. Okay, love doing that one. As you know, I prattled on a bit, but it's a band that's very dear to my heart. As I said, put your comments, but don't get down my throat if because I've put the works at the bottom of the pile. And I know there's people that don't like this early Queen, but to me that is Queen. Okay, that's all for today. I'll be back tomorrow. What have we got for you tomorrow? We've got Then and Now, and we're looking at one of the pioneer bands of the new wave of British heavy metal, Angel Witch, who sort of came, disappeared, and come back strong. So we'll be looking at them. Album artwork tomorrow is Journey. I love their covers. They've got some of the nicest artwork in the rock genre of album work covers. And then tomorrow, of course, it's live stream, 8 o'clock. I'll be there, and he's decided he'll be joining us again. My mate Dave, he'll be here. I'm going to put something to him to do on a live stream. See if it works. I don't know how it'll work, but we'll have a go. But we'll see you for that tomorrow. So have a great day. Bye for now.